Thank you so much for joining me on the Internationalizer podcast, Hannah. Could you tell me a bit more about yourself and your journey so far?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I'm originally from Russia and I moved to London in September 2023 to do my master's in entertainment law. So since then I've been in the UK and my master's degree was for 1 year. And after that I started job hunting, which I've been doing since then, since it turned out that it's really tough to get into legal market in the UK. And also during this time I've started to working on my own project in immigration that I'm going to tell you about later.
And the first question that I had was because you moved from a different country. So, what were some things that you wish you knew before moving to the UK? And how would these factors shape your personal brand journey?
I would say that personal branding in general is one thing that I wish I knew before moving to the UK, how important it is. Because even if we talk about job hunting, like when you're applying for jobs in Russia, your presence on LinkedIn doesn't matter at all. So no one would look if you have a LinkedIn profile, what are you doing there? It's more based on your CV. But in the UK, like every recruiter is on LinkedIn. So when you're applying for jobs, you
Yes.
know that they're going to assess your LinkedIn.
Gonna have a look at your LinkedIn profile.
And it's not only, it's not only about like having just your LinkedIn profile with your work experience and education. It's also about posting, connecting with other people, which quite a long-term game. So the earlier you start, the better.
Yeah, sort of like building your credibility on LinkedIn because they're going to see your CV, but at the same time, they're going to have a look at your LinkedIn profile. They're going to see your maybe your post activity as well, see if you have any experience or any knowledge within the field that you're applying for as well. So I think it does come into play a lot. Do you have any similar platforms in Russia as well? Do you have LinkedIn or do you just
No,
walk
we
into
don't
the
have
office and
it.
printed out CV? Brilliant. And my second question would be, so what were the key challenges in presenting yourself professionally in the UK compared to your home country? I think it's similar to the previous question, but in terms of the work culture, what we say were some key challenges, both in LinkedIn, in the virtual world, and also in the real world.
I think if you talk about job interviews,
Mm-hmm.
they're completely different compared to Russia because in Russia, during job interviews, you are more being asked more theoretical questions. If you talk about law, it's more like your knowledge of law, your knowledge of case law. While here, all accent is shifted more to your soft skills and so based like competency questions. So they like to ask, tell me about the time when you, I don't know, went above and beyond, about the time when you had to deal with difficult client. So you have the star system that each of your answers should be, yeah, should follow the structure. And I thought for me personally, it's more difficult because you have to keep all the situation in your head. You have to like to remember what you were dealing with a couple of years ago.
Exactly. It's like you have the answer in your mind, but now you need to sort of rearrange it to fit into the star model and tell it in a different way, even though it might be the same answer, but you get points for being more structured with your answer. I think that's what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
Now, so tell what lesson have you learned from this experience?
Exactly. And I think they also do like there's also an emphasis on doing what I call a vibe check. So they like to check your vibe, to make sure that you fit into their organizational culture, what kind of
Yeah,
personality you are. So I think that also comes into play a lot apart from your professional experience and your skill set.
yeah, that's true.
My next question would be, what surprised you most about the job hunting process in the UK's legal industry for you as a graduate?
I think the first thing is that on one hand, everyone talks a lot about transferable skills. So no matter your previous experience, as long as you can turn this experience into something useful for this particular role, you can use it. But in reality, when you start applying for jobs, you realize that they're looking for very specific experience based on their role. And so basically, like all those transferable skills don't really work if they're looking for, I don't know, your experience with SaaS contracts. If you don't have this experience, the chances that your application will proceed further are very slim. And so, yeah, so you think like you have this feeling that they don't give you any time to learn something. So as long as you haven't done something before, that you should already come with this, like predetermined skill set, predetermined experience, and there is no room for learning something new.
Mm.
And the other thing is probably about junior positions. Even though I have already experience, I worked as a lawyer in Russia for 6 years, so I can't call my name like a graduate. But when it comes to junior positions, they already require 3-4 years of experience, and I'm just wondering, like, how a recent graduate is supposed to break into legal market when even junior positions already require experience, very specific experience.
Definitely. I think what it is the current job market where employees they don't want to be in a position to invest in training and development of employees. As you said, they want really specific experiences and skill sets. So I think what it is that employers want the exact same job in another candidate. So
Yeah.
they want somebody who was doing the exact same job. They don't want to do somebody who just has maybe the same experience or qualifications. They want the exact same job, so they don't have to spend a lot of time in training, development. They don't want to invest in that sort of thing. They just want them to just start cracking on from day one without any training required whatsoever. That's what it is.
Yeah, but also from the candidate's perspective, even if they have this experience, but they also want to try something new, they basically don't get the chance
I think
to
that's the
learn.
problem. Yeah, that's what the problem is because even if somebody wants to try something new, maybe they want to go into a different sector, pick up a different role, or maybe even just expand their skill set. They cannot do it because none of the jobs would hire somebody with a different experience. They want the exact same person. So there's no mobility within the job roles at all because they can get the same job that they have, but just in a different company, but they cannot switch roles. I don't know how to. I don't know how. If somebody wants to switch roles, I don't know how it would actually work in the current job market.
Yeah, especially as lawyers, we've always been taught that the best skill is the skill to learn. Throughout your career, you're constantly learning. You are doing something that you've never done before. And somehow this skill is being, I don't know, diminished and just.
They need to change it to just keep doing the same thing for the next 20 years, so you don't ever have to worry about getting another job. Just be happy and do the same thing for the next 20 years, and you're pretty much sorted. And my next question would be, what advice would you give an immigrant or international graduate trying to break into the UK legal field?
I think from what I've noticed during job hunting is, again, coming back to this experience thing, is that the more specific your experience is in law, the more chances of success you have. So basically, if you have, let's say, if you worked in data privacy law and you wrap all your like personal branding around it, if you have academic publication, if you're constantly posting on LinkedIn about the news, your comments about, I don't know, recent developments in data privacy law, then you present yourself more like an expert in this like very niche area. And I think for the employers, that's what they would prefer compared to like more
More general,
general
yes.
experience. Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's definitely good advice in terms of the current job market that for somebody to succeed in any sector, they need to go all in and pick a specific niche for them. And then they need to find a role within that niche. So essentially, you find an aspect of a sector and you become an expert in that. You build your knowledge and then you build your personal brand around that knowledge. I think that's how you secure a job
Yeah.
in job market. Go as deep in and go as niche as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And in terms of your own career planning, how did immigrating to the UK influence the way you think about your long-term career path or your career goals?
I think first of all, immigrating to the UK opened my eyes on how the job market changed. Because like a couple of years ago, we were reading, all this news that AI might take your job, and now you basically every day you wake up to the news about other wave of layoffs or that it's the worst time in the history for the graduate to find a job, and you just realize that this stable career path is not really there. That you should learn how to build your career in all this unpredictability.
All the chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, and you should constantly develop your skills to stay relevant in the job market, and you should. So there is no much stability. as probably we thought there is.
Definitely, definitely. I think that it used to be that jobs used to be considered the more safer and stable pathway as compared to having your own business. So I think having your own business would be something that was sort of high risk, but also high reward, but no stability at all. Jobs would be like medium risk, medium reward, but also high stability in the sense that you don't have to worry. You could just work a job and not have to worry. But now I think it's sort of changed a little bit. I think even the job market makes having a job not the most stable thing, or even finding a job. I think it does not really guarantee any stability whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it's time when it's preferable probably to have like your job as plan A and some other plan B, as we call it, like portfolio careers that people are building now when you have a few different directions where you get income from.
I think that's definitely the better way to sort of not keep all your eggs in the same basket. Diversify essentially, become an expert in different fields and try out different things, and then eventually one of them will work out. So this can be in terms of, trying for multiple job roles, improving your skill set in different niche areas, but also looking into having a business or side hustle maybe as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So of that, what new opportunities did you discover that you hadn't considered before relocating from Russia to the UK?
Yeah, talking about the business, I think entrepreneurship is one thing that I've never considered before. But when you're coming to the UK, especially all this like entrepreneurial climate, even when you look on LinkedIn, it feels like everyone is building something. Everyone,
You found right.
yeah, like expressing their craziest ideas, their creativity, and you just feel that maybe you also have have the chance of starting something new. You have this like encouragement from the other people. And also during job hunting, I just realized that I felt so out of control of my career because I've been job hunting for more than a year, and you just feel like you just apply and you get rejections, like you have no control at all.
Okay.
And yeah, when you work on something that it's your own, you could see the direct results of your actions, even if they're small, even if not immediately. But you have more return that
More ownership and more agency of whatever it is that you do. Whereas the job market is a bit like you can, put everything out there, but you don't get the same results in return. But with a business, is like, the amount of work you put in that can maybe guarantee better results for you. And you see that because you own the business, so you have more ownership or you have more agency of whatever it is that you're doing. I think that's what it is. And I think one issue that I had with, looking for a job and the job market in general is that you can have all the skills that maybe the job needs, and maybe you have more skills than the job requires. I think the biggest problem for applying to jobs is that you have to sort of justify that you have the skills even if you have more skills. So let's say you have somebody who's really good at web design, software development, but the only thing they don't have, because they've never had a job, they've never had an entry level job, so they don't have experience, they don't have any work experience. So I think the problem is that that person, maybe he has more skills than somebody who already has a job, but just because they don't have any corporate experience, they cannot justify that they have the skills, even though they actually do. So I think it's such a paradox that they might be more skilled, but just because they don't have that work experience, that they didn't get lucky after graduating, or maybe they didn't secure an internship, they have to like spend the rest of their time justifying that they have their skills, even though they are already skilled.
Yeah. And the other problem is also being overqualified. When you apply for a job, that employers think that you will be bored after some time or wherever. That your skills are so above what they're looking for.
I think also the problem is like, in terms of how many years of experience you have, what sort of jobs you can apply to. For example, if you have maybe a couple of years of experience in any sector, you can apply to entry level jobs, because most entry level jobs require 0 to 3 years of experience, which I think zero is not what they look for anymore, but they do look for maybe up to 2 3 years of experience. But then you start getting more experience, so maybe you have 5 or 6 years. So then it gets troubling, because which jobs would you apply to then? Because let's say that somebody has 5 6 years of experience back in their home country, but now they've moved countries. So would they be considered entry level, which they're not because they already have a lot of experience? Or would they apply for the senior roles, which they find they're not qualified for because they don't have UK experience, or they don't have experience in the countries that they're applying to? So I think that's what the paradox is.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. I also feel like I can't even, even though I have experience, I can't qualify even for the junior positions because they require like a very specific experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, let's say in intellectual property law that I don't have per se.
I see, I see. So could you tell me a bit more about also your immigration related project that we talked about earlier and what inspired you to start it?
Yeah, so I'm just at the very beginning of it, and it's about helping people to explore different visa options worldwide. So I had this idea in my head for a while, and I think, like when you're young and you have this idea that like the people immigrating, I don't know, to the USA, they just have their backpack, they just decided to leave everything and move to the USA, but then yeah, you realize that there are so many bureaucracy, so many
Mm-hmm.
visa requirements that it's not so easy, that you have to navigate through all those different requirements. And I think this project is what is about. And above everything, I feel that first of all, I need it for myself, because I was always like, when I thought that to understand what visa options you have in other countries, that you have to spend so much time researching, going on different websites, forums. It's just so time consuming.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's a nightmare because also the information is not always unified. So you have to look at different places
Yeah,
online. So, for example,
but
if you want to
the
know
change.
about different sorts of visas, it's in different places. And you cannot tell which one is, the more accurate one because a lot of them is like maybe articles, maybe law firms publishing, some sort of report or articles. So there's no unified data that you can find or unified information that you can find when you apply for visas like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's definitely a good idea. I mean, I could take use of it, especially now. A lot of people they want to work in different countries, immigrate to different countries, or be digital nomads. So they work in another country but they live somewhere else. So I think it'll be useful to have a sort of unified website or a unified tool which tells you exactly what you need to do, and you can find all the information there within the same place. So could you tell me more about the nature of the website? Would it be an app? Would it be a website? Or would it be a sort of database where you can select your country and it'll tell you what visa options you have?
I'm planning to have it as a platform.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm planning to make like a prototype probably in December. And I'm just talking about like the changes in this immigration, in the constant changes in the immigration rule. If you even look at the USA, I don't know, you're planning to go to work to the USA, and then all of a sudden, all those changes with work visas when you have to change your plans, and just to have a more accessible way to look what other options you have in other countries. That's
Exactly,
what
as
I'm
well
working
as
on.
any sort of new rules and regulations that they bring out that you need to have. So I think that'll be pretty good. And you can always use, I think you can use maybe Perplexity APIs or something else that sort of pulls new data directly to your platform so that there's always up to date data on your platform. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
And what are you planning to call it? What would you name it?
I name him for now. It's called On Palm. So the idea is like when you have like all the map like on the palm of your hand. Just
Hey,
yeah.
okay, I see, I see. I thought you meant like palm tree, so I was thinking,
No.
what do the palm trees connect to? But yeah, on palm, okay. So you have everything within the palm of your hand. That's pretty good. That's pretty creative. I like it. I like it. I'll definitely use it. I'll check it out as soon as it's live.
Yeah.
And my next question would be, what was your first experience? Because you live in London now. So what was your first experience with British small talk, and how did it differ from small talk in your home country?
The main difference is in Russia we're very straightforward. So if you have an issue, you talk directly about it. You don't start with how how's the weather, how's your neighbor. But in the UK, I remember like the first time when I was living in my student accommodation, and I don't remember, I don't know, let's say climate problem. And I came to the reception and I just wanted to tell about my problem. And they started asking me, how are you? How's your day been? And in my head, I was like, why do we have to talk about it? But and I have like a very specific problem. And I think especially in services, in like when you have an urgent situation that you just want it to be solved. Situations like this, it's a little bit odd for you to start with talking about different topics. But I think you just have to get used to it here.
Yeah, because it's different if it's like casual customer service. If you're just going, popping in for a cup of coffee, sure, you don't mind small talk, but then sometimes you have an actual issue or maybe an emergency that needs to be addressed. So I think that's where it's sort of, that's when you notice the sort of culture shock a bit more, maybe, because then you have to sort of go through the routine of small talk before addressing
Yeah.
the root cause of your problem. What would you prefer then? Would you prefer small talk or would you prefer being more direct?
I think in urgent situations, I would prefer to be more direct.
Definitely. I see what you mean.
Because I don't know, luckily I haven't met with, I don't know, with in terms of any medical situations. I don't know how when you have some medical problem, which is even more urgent, they also have this small talk.
Have you ever managed to, or were you in a situation where you had to book a GP appointment?
No, not yet.
Was it fun? Oh, not yet. Okay. That's another experience. I think you'll be on the phone. I mean, I got lucky with it because most of the times that I call my local GP, they were very like quickly available, or they would have slots like maybe. So, for example, once I was down with the flu, and I called them, and they said the next appointment was after 2 weeks. I was like, by the time I'll be okay. If not, I think it'll be a bigger emergency if I'm not okay. But but I think yeah, I got lucky with it. So my last question would be, what advice would you give to other solo founders who are also in the same situation as you and building similar businesses?
I would say that just to start, because when you listen to all the advice, obviously, like the most common thing is that you should have like a technical and non-technical co-founder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm non-technical. I've never built anything. I don't know how to code, but I just have this. I have so much of passion and excitement about this that I decided that I just start, because especially now when you have so many tools for the non-technical people that could help
Yeah.
you at least to start at the very beginning to build
You could build a prototype without.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and after that you'll see how it will go. So it shouldn't stop you from starting the thing that you're not technical.
Brilliant. That's definitely really good advice to just get on with it. If you have a
Yeah,
plan, just execute. I think execution is key. So you just, if you have an idea in mind, just bring it to life and then take it from there. See how many users you can get and see how much interest you can build around it. That's definitely really good.
yeah. Because along the way you will see how it will go. If you need someone in the future, then yeah, but
You can always scale
to
and then
start is the
in
hardest
that
part.
pathway. You need to start first. Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I think all the insights were really good. Being an immigrant myself, I could relate to a lot of the things that you mentioned. And I wish you all the best also for your project. I think it's definitely a good idea for also people, who move countries or relocate. So I wish you all the best for that. And I just want to thank you for being here again. Take care. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Thank you for having me. It was a real pleasure talking to you.
No worries at all. Likewise. Bye bye.
Bye.